tapping for wealth to allow money and abundance into your life. This might sound a little bit weird, especially if you're not familiar with EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. But once you learn about it, you're going to discover the power within you to transform your life. And that's why my guest today is one of the most sought after EFT experts in the world, specializing in money and success, Margaret Lynch Raniere. We are going to talk about how to set an intention to create passion and success, how EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, or tapping works. What is stopping you as a talented and smart person from actually earning what you should earn? Margaret will actually walk me through the steps of tapping for something that I personally have been beating myself up about recently, which made me feel embarrassed and dumb. And I'm gonna share with you all what that thing was. I'm gonna be really vulnerable. And Margaret will coach me to tap it away, which is totally awesome. So you get a framework on how to do it yourself. We're also gonna talk about how to celebrate our wins without feeling like we're bragging and without feeling like our wins are too small and not worthy of sharing. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kiana Danial. I'm the founder of the Invest Diva Movement, the tribe to join to make your money work for you so you can retire wealthy and pass a fortune on to your kids without being stuck to your screen all day, even if you're super busy and not a math whiz. This is my new YouTube channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you get all of my daily videos. I would really appreciate it if you could hit the thumb up button as well and share this video with anyone in your life who doesn't know her worth and wants to attract more wealth and success into her life. In this interview, there are a ton of nuggets of wisdom, so I'm really hoping you're setting some time aside to go through all these steps that Margaret walks us through. Make sure you're sitting in a safe place where you can talk out loud, following the guidelines, and you can actually make the tapping gestures with your hands and not be embarrassed, right? So before we get into this, please go ahead in the comments right now and let me know what are some false beliefs that you have right now that you think are stopping you from reaching your true potential. Is there anything you're beating yourself up about, like I was, because you thought you could do better, and now it's making you feel embarrassed, guilty, and not worthy? Go ahead and type it down in the comment because I'm really curious to know who else is going through the same things I've gone through. Now, if you're ready, let's go say hi to Margaret and let's get the movement going. We're super excited to have you on our show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Kiana.
Absolutely. So when I was going through, I was reading a little bit about you, and I noticed that, oh my gosh, we have way too much in common. So you're an engineer. I was an engineer. I was the only girl in my class. You were one of the few females in your class. And then now you are into wealth creation, and you're basically all about mindset, which is something that I need to get more onto. I'm about wealth, but mindset is something that I've consistently been working on. And I'm super, super excited to have you today to really walk us through what it is that you do and why you do it. But before that, please tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. You know, I really, as a young child, even really wanted to help people. I wanted to become a therapist. And I sort of gave up that dream and followed my dad and my brothers and older sisters into engineering because it was more black and white. You know, I learned even as a young person in high school, if you have a friend who is beautiful and amazing and talented, but they believe on the inside that they aren't good enough, there's nothing you can do to convince them otherwise, right? They'll get into bad relationships, they treat themselves badly. And I remember thinking, you know, in high school, people don't change. You actually can't ever help people, as I thought. And I went into the engineering road. But when I was, you know, just turning around like maybe 38, 39, my daughter was 10 years old at the time. I saw Wayne Dyer on television, public television, and I heard The Power of Intention. And I was just like, what? You can set an intention to like live your passion. And that drew me into the world of personal growth and coaching. And I quickly found tools like emotional freedom technique or tapping that for an engineer are extremely exciting because they're clinically proven. They actually work in a very measurable and repeatable way. And so I became the person who was helping all of my clients who were entrepreneurs, small business owners, women like me who were in like a midlife, you know, I want to live my passion, whether it's part-time or full-time, and solving the problems of money, not from a strategy or investment, and not really so much from mindset or law of attraction and thinking big, but really getting like an engineer would, like what is stopping you as a talented, smart woman from actually earning what you should earn? And the answers to those questions were like a constant puzzle that I had to solve. So my focus really became the fact that the way that women are impoverishing themselves and earning less has mostly to do with the programming that we have that turns into actions we are not taking, ways that we are not stepping up boldly, we are not exuding confidence and value, we're instead in self-doubt, or do I even have the right to be here? Shouldn't I be grateful? All of this kind of programming, right?
These are talking to my soul. These are talking to my soul because this is absolutely crazy and mind blowing. This past week, I was on a cruise with a number of my coaches, and I was telling them that, yeah, so like this is my offer, and they were like, "This is how much you're charging for your this much of an offer." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm not sure." Like, dude, you've written 3 books. You're on TV all the time, and I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't have the confidence." Like, who makes like? How, and it's in our programming, it's there. And I actually thought that I was good. Like I watch The Secret every 6 months. I watch the Law of Attraction. I'm all about Law of Attraction. I have an app that every morning I go there and I type in what I'm grateful for. Like I'm all about it, but I still was doubting that, oh, like I was like, am I really like, who would want to pay me that much? Like, am I worth it? Am I worth it? And then you watch this guy who has like a epsilon amount of your experience, and you're like, oh yeah, give me $50,000. I'm like, how on earth did you do that? Like I would never. And like it's so tell us, please. We are all ears. Would like to hear how to change this lack of self-worth.
Yeah, and so affirmations, law of attraction, and mindset is great, but you're working with the mind in your deep belief in your value, in the courage and the passion and the energy that flows from that is not from your mind. It is from what I call the lower chakras. And so if some of you might be familiar with what the chakras are and others.
My mom is.
Yeah. And so really the chakras say that they're, and people use them in the yogi tradition, but it's really 7 levels of consciousness, right? And so the mind is one level of consciousness, but the mind has programming in it that we don't even remember how it got there, to doubt ourselves, right? And to say things like, well, I mean, I don't want to overstate my value because I'm not sure I believe in it. And so you want to recognize that when you have self-doubt running, like unless you're like 19 and you've never even proven that you can run a cash register, right? Or any of us, those people, no, right? And so when your mind says, when push comes to shove, if somebody said, showing up at your door tomorrow, Kiana, and you're doubling your prices and you're going to present it to 10 people standing in front of you, when push comes to shove, that doubt comes up. You need to understand that that is coming not from your smart mind, but it is coming in a fear energy rising up through you, right? And the fear says one thing: people are not going to like this. And so we expect a negative reaction to we've been trained to never get that negative reaction. So in my generation, I'm in my 50s, it was, you never make anybody uncomfortable. So if a man is treating you in an inappropriate way, you laugh it off, you're okay with it, you say, oh, well, ha ha ha, it's okay. You don't want to confront or be difficult, right? So all of this says, I don't actually have the right. And if someone tries to push me, like often great marketing coaches do, like you need to declare your value, I feel anxious, right? And that's where we know that it is actually fear. So it sounds like self-doubt, it sounds like I doubt myself, but if you really were forced to say the words, I actually do deserve it, you can tell it triggers an anxiety response. And so this is programmed fear running through our system. And that's why I use the tool of tapping, where you're tapping on acupuncture points, because it literally turns off the fight or flight response.
So I have a question for you right over here. And that is, I do believe that a lot of it has to do with your upbringing and what society has basically told you, hey, just be a good girl and don't be difficult and don't create drama, all these good things.
Yeah.
But there are personality types that are there who really want to please people. It's just like, it's your pleasing, like you don't want to make somebody, like you always you want people to like you, right? So there are people who are dominant and they're like, okay, I don't care what people think of me, but there are people who just naturally want other people to like them. So does this work for those kind of people as well?
Yeah, and so that's an awesome drive. It's an awesome heart-centered feeling. Whenever something is out of balance, it's when it's a problem, right? And so the only way I can operate is by people liking me. So I can never ever break the rule that says, what if one person out of 100 in this room doesn't like what I have to say? Now I'm hyper focused on the criticism of that person, right? And that's how we are. Like 10 people could be like, yay! And one person is like, and that kills us, right? We lose all of our power.
Yeah.
And so the chakra energy is the empowerment energy rising up through us. It's this deep felt feeling where if someone says, I don't think that you're all that, or maybe I don't think that you're actually good enough to ask for what you are. Instead, you go inside and you go, hang on, let me check. No, I do. You're wrong, right? That's your opinion. That's great, because there's a felt energy that rises up. The mind takes that felt energy and goes, wait, maybe they're right, and maybe I'm not as good. And we've now left. Our mind has us in fear, which pushes your energy down.
And you know what's very interesting? Sometimes even those people, sorry to interrupt you, but those people, sometimes they don't even mean it. For example, right? Yesterday, I went on Fox Business, right? And I had an agenda. Not an agenda, but I really wanted to get my story out there for the first time about like how I got into cryptocurrencies, right? So I was like, okay, no matter what Maria Bartiromo is going to ask me, I'm going to make sure I'm going to tell the story. All right. So I went on. And so of course she's asking me, okay, what is cryptocurrency? So I tell them the story and she's like, okay, what is your definition of this? And I tell them the story, the rest of the story. And I thought I did great. And everybody was like, oh, wow, that's a very interesting story. I posted on YouTube, it was like, wow, this is super great. And then my husband points out, oh, hey, Kiana, it looks like she was asking you where to buy Bitcoin and you just told the story. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. I didn't even notice it. Now, even she didn't notice that I didn't answer her question, but my husband pointed it out and he was right. He didn't mean to like diminish me in any way.
Yeah.
But now, ever since in the past 24 hours, every time I look at this video, I cringe. I'm like, she's obviously asking me the question. I didn't answer. I feel dumb. I feel so dumb. I feel so dumb. And I told my husband, like, no, I didn't mean that. That's a great interview. But I still cannot unsee what I saw. And in my eyes, I'm like, okay, I'm super dumb. I'm just dumb and I can't get over it.
And so that's why these are seemingly unsolvable problems, because it's like, how do we get inside you and say, that's crazy? When to ourselves, like you would say to somebody else, you'd be like, oh my God, you would have all this wisdom and perspective. You would say, hello, it's your first time doing it. You did amazing. Could you look at that one piece? It's always good to watch your film and say, oh, how will I improve? But hello, it's still totally rocked. That's what you would say to someone else. But to ourselves, the doubts take over, and the end result of that can be, and I hope it would never be for you, is to now make you more in your head on the next interview and more worried about making a mistake. And literally, this is what happens to our energy. We get smaller, right? And what you want is this energy blasting up. And so, there's a value to the mind saying, oh, I missed something there, right? But if it doesn't have the balancing energy that's coming up in your system where you're like, I fucking rocked it, holy shit, then this wins.
Okay, so walk us through. How do we do this?
And so do you want me to show you the tapping?
Would love it.
Okay.
Oh my God, and I see you have Welcome Chakra Masterclass, and I would totally love to learn all about that too, but let's go for it.
Yeah, that's actually going to be a live free course I'm filming on Monday, starting this coming Monday, the 19th, I think it is. What we would do is we would use tapping, right? Into tapping to turn off that self-doubt. And what tapping does is it lets us voice something that's going inside of us that we're fighting with. So it's different than an affirmation. It's different than law of attraction, but it's meant to release and sort of voice this side of us that's highly, highly critical. And when we do that, all of a sudden you're going to have a shifted perspective. And anytime you are on TV, on camera, put out a video, or hear your own voice, which always makes us go like, oh, it sounds terrible. You want to tap, and your criticism will come down into perspective. Okay, so I want you to tune specifically in, listeners, think of something that you did recently or in the past where being honest with yourself, regardless of what everyone else says, you probably could have done it better, right? Because these are the secrets we keep. And so just tune into that. Well, I know people said it was great, but I really could have done it better. Okay, so let's tap. And all you do is tap, follow me. These are acupuncture points we're going to tap on. This is called tapping. It's been around for 40 years. It's the biggest thing you've never heard of. And these are the points we're going to use. These are the side of the eye points, right on the edge of the bone.
Is there a right way to do it, right or wrong way to do it, or just
lightly tapping? We're just tapping these ones because they're acupuncture points, easy to reach. The next one's under the nose. And we're just tapping enough of these points, and I'm going to lead you through how to do it officially. Just to turn off the fight or flight response to connected to what we're saying, okay? Just like if you tap with a bunch of fingers, just lightly, you're doing it. The last one we can use is the top of the head, also the crown chakra, okay? Okay, so ready? You're gonna repeat after me. I did a pretty good job.
I did a pretty good job.
And then next tapping point, blah, blah, blah.
Going on TV yesterday.
Yeah, but it could have been better.
But it could have been better.
And people are complimenting me.
People are complimenting me.
And I say inside.
And I say inside.
That's nice, but it's not my standard.
That's nice, but it's not my standard.
My standards are way higher.
My standards are way higher.
And the absolute truth is.
And the absolute truth is.
I should have done better.
I should have done better.
And that is the truth.
That is the truth.
I should have known better.
I should have known better.
I should have done better.
I should have done better.
I embarrassed myself.
I embarrassed myself.
Now I feel rightfully embarrassed.
And now I'm feeling rightfully embarrassed. Oh.
Rightfully beating myself up.
Rightfully beating myself up.
It's a fantastic motivator.
It's a fantastic motivator.
Actually, it isn't.
Actually, it isn't. Okay.
It's really defeating.
Sorry?
It's very defeating.
It's very defeating, yeah.
But I'm right about that.
But I'm right about that.
I am right about this.
I am right about this.
I should have done it more perfectly.
I should have done it more perfectly.
It wasn't good enough.
It wasn't good enough.
It just wasn't good enough.
It just wasn't good enough.
And when I feel that, all my confidence goes.
All my confidence goes.
All my courage collapses.
All my courage collapses.
All my badass energy.
All my badass energy.
I don't deserve to have that.
I don't deserve to have that.
Because it wasn't good enough.
Because it wasn't good enough.
I don't deserve confidence yet.
I don't deserve confidence yet.
Because I haven't earned it.
Because I haven't earned it.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
But I'm not there yet.
But I'm not there yet.
So I don't deserve to feel super great.
So I don't deserve to feel super great.
Okay, and take a breath. Did that ring true?
That was completely different than what I thought you're going to say. I was like, so you're basically taking ownership of your feeling. I thought you're going to be tapping saying, no, you did awesome.
Nope. We don't want to fight with that side of ourselves that we are secretly, like if your husband knew more about what you say to yourself, he would try to stop you, right? If he knew how hard you were on yourself, he would probably be like, honey, you're being really hard on yourself. Would he?
No, he did. I mean, until this morning, I was like, yeah, I feel dumb. He's like, stop it. He was like, just stop saying it. Like, you did great. But I still couldn't get over it.
Yeah, so we go away and secretly we're really hard on ourselves, and we are harder on ourselves as women because we have learned that if we are not perfect, we are going to be criticized in a different way, to a different standard. And so I want you to recognize that fear drives that inner critic, right? There is a fear of somehow not being good enough, that somehow we have to prove that all the time.
Yeah, this is bringing tears into my eyes because it's true. Like, no matter where I get, and it's funny, like people ask me like, oh my God, you're so calm. Oh my God, you're this and that. I'm like, if only you knew what's going on in my head. Like, you put this confident face on social media. You're always, oh, look at me. Oh, look at that. And then deep down, you're still like feeling defeated. As you said, you still feel like you're not good enough. So,
and there's tons of celebrities who've revealed that, right? I'm faking it literally, right? I am terrified on the inside. And so, it's such a passion of mine to talk about this with women because this costs us millions of dollars in income a year. It costs us passion. It costs us the celebration that we should have, but that we lose by being so hard on ourselves. And when I have people voice and tap that mean, harsh, critical voice that is always saying, I'm not good enough yet, I don't deserve yet, that's where we get the I don't think I deserve. They always start to get emotional after a while. And that those tears is your heart starting to realize, wow, that really hurts. That actually really hurts. If someone was screaming that in my face, it would hurt. And I'm saying it to myself, right? And so we can't have any secrets about this. We have to openly talk about the way that we beat ourselves down, the way we start there, and where it comes from. I always say to people, it's not how to fix yourself, it's where you need to go, which is why I use the chakras as this map to show you where you need to go to get rid of this fear. Because this is costing us. And when we can turn off that fear, this is how it would sound instead, right? This is how it would sound instead. It would sound like, as I said before, like, yeah, there's things at this level, I can now look at it critically and say, oh, I could do a little bit better there, but holy cow, I rocked it. And I absolutely, as a work in progress, putting myself out there, doing the hard thing, that makes me badass right there. Like the fact that it was hard and scary and I did it, I should be dancing around celebrating all day long. Could I watch the film and maybe improve and have it? Yes. And I should be celebrating all day long, and we do not celebrate our progress.
So here's another question for you about celebration, right? And I'm all about it. And I encourage my tribe, which we focus on investing, is a little bit different, to celebrate their winnings. And a lot of people don't. And I've come to realize, and ask them, hey, why don't you, when you make money, why don't you share it with our group? And they're like, well, it feels like I'm bragging and I don't want to brag. So I'm wondering what you think about this.
And so we go from like first chakra, right? Like I'm literally following the rules that I've learned unconsciously. And if I try to break them, I feel fearful. At the second chakra, do I deserve to feel so awesome about myself? Do I deserve to feel confident? Or is that also dangerous? Because the second I do that, I'm going to feel guilty, like I'm bragging, right? Who do you think you are? And so for some people, there's just a massive level of fear their childhoods weren't safe. For other people, it's like, if I learned to follow the rules, and if I was always achieving and always perfect and not making mistakes, I was safe and I got, complimented. And for some people, it's like, if the second you try to step out of the comfort zone and say, well, maybe I'm actually super special, there would be a, who do you think you are? Right? Or that's disempowering to other people. And so everyone has different pieces and different rules, right? But there's so many reasons we resist celebrating. We're afraid of the reaction from other people, like I'm going to disempower other people, they're going to attack me, they're not going to like it, they're going to think I'm arrogant. And why should I celebrate? Because I'm not there yet. Right? I
Yeah, like,
haven't
I mean, of course, like with our team, I feel like with my tribe, like I encourage people, if they make $1 to celebrate it. And of course, there are people who go and make like $16,000, and that discourages people who made less to go
Right.
and celebrate, because like, oh, look, like this person made this much money and I'm going to celebrate $1. Heck no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So is there a framework in all the steps that you just said?
Yeah, and so here's an important thing, right? So at the first chakra, which was where we learn all this fear and we learn all these negative rules of what's going to happen if we step out of our comfort zone, right? Because getting on TV is stepping out of our comfort zone. It's like, holy cow, how am I going to be seen and perceived? The tapping is miraculous in the way it directly solves an inner problem, and we can feel different afterward, right? But one of the ways you're talking about people in your tribe, it's so important because the only way that you can completely rebuild your first chakra, so you're standing on a more solid foundation, is safe tribe. Is to be in a different tribe from your family, be in a tribe where the culture dictates, this is our culture. We celebrate whether you made $1 or $60,000. You have to show up and let people celebrate you and deal with all your feelings about that. But you are going to be loved and supported and celebrated. That is what rebuilds our first chakra when 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, and now after a year, I have been in a safe place where people have cheered me on. I now have a more solidity. So if someone says, who do you think you are? You think to yourself, I got my whole tribe behind me. I know who the frig I am, right? And I'm proud of myself and they're proud of me. It's like the family we didn't have, right? And so tribe is so important to healing the first chakra. And so, in my work, I go deep into these ways of tapping to specifically break these things so they're gone and move the energy up in a big way. But for sure, at the first chakra, your people are in the right place if this is a safe tribe where the culture dictates, right? We support each other. And you need that. You need other people, especially since if you think about it, every fear that we have is the reaction of other people. The only thing that can rebuild that and make you more solid is by having multiple reactions over a period of time from safe people who are like, I see
That
what
was
you're doing and I love it.
That is absolute golden nugget. So I know that this has worked for you, and I can see the power of it, and I cannot wait to go and implement it for myself, for my tribe, and for our culture. So as we're getting to the end of this, I'm sure all the viewers are just dying to know how they can go and find you and get started with all this. So can you tell us a little bit about how we can go and find all these awesome nuggets and how to implement the frameworks that you just taught us?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. I did put a lot of my work into a book called Tapping into Wealth with Penguin Books. So you can find that on Amazon for $12 and you are tapping like a maniac for a good month. And I have videos that go with it to clear every one of your blocks to money and power. And so the book is a really easy, fast way. If you want to clear specifically your blocks to money and your power, that's a great way to go. But if you're really fascinated with the deeper chakra work that I do, it would be my 7 levels of manifestation program, which we are often sort of, marketing and bringing out free nuggets to. But if you go to margaretlynchRaniere.com, you can sign up for my newsletter and hear what's happening. You can check out my website, look for the 7 levels there, and you will
Is this
see
the
that.
correct one?
Yes, yeah. What's there right now is that's my Ignite Your Power event in March of 2020, where we do 3 intense days of transformation. And then the 7 levels program is something that you can also see there under products.
Right.
Yeah.
And it looks like that you also have an awesome following on YouTube.
Yes,
that I have
do.
already subscribed to, as you can see.
And you know, I don't make a lot of tapping videos now because I have thousands of them. And so you can find on my YouTube channel, you know, tapping for every single thing, tapping to charge more, tapping, you know, to earn an extra $3,000 a month, like all sorts of very specific tapping, tapping to market yourself, tapping to get ready for a talk. And I even have a something that you might be interested in, which is a free thing that you can get off my website, and it's really about charisma on stage. You can opt in for that, and it's a video and a handout, I mean an audio and a handout that walks you through crazy use of tapping.
Where do we find this? And I apologize, I think my daughter just woke up and she's screaming. I'm not sure if the microphone is
I will
picking it up.
send that to you. I'll send you the link.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. And thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody who I'm sure you've been glued to the screen until the end of this. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe, obviously, for Margaret. And this is our new YouTube channel. As you know, I just started a new YouTube channel last month. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button on my page as well. If you like this video, like it and comment. Let us know what you're tapping for. What are you celebrating, right? And what your fears are. I'm super excited and super curious to know, like, I put myself out there right now and I kind of shared my vulnerability. And I think it's the first step, as you just said, to just declare what you're fearful, then you can take it from there. So I'm super curious to see what you guys are fearful about. And I'm sure Margaret is going to be super curious about it as well. So let's get this thing started. Starts right down here. And again, thank you so much, Margaret, for being here. And I'll see everybody else in the next episode of the Invest Diva Movement.
Bye, guys.
Okay, before you go, this is our tradition on my new YouTube channel, is that I ask our guests to make a silly face.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, that was a very sexy kind of sexy.